Chairman. I'm the head of our Art Sciences Department here at the National Museums of Kenya. And I take this opportunity to welcome you at the National Museums of Kenya, Department of Art Sciences. Specifically, we're in the archaeology section, which is a section that mainly deals with the study of human interaction with the environment based on material remains that are left behind. Archaeology Department is the national repository for all archaeological materials here at the National Museums of Kenya. But specifically, what archaeology does is that it studies the material remains that were left by our ancestors in order to understand diet, in which what they ate, the technology based on the tools that they left behind, and also other artifacts that our ancestors left behind. These are specimens that we use specifically for our teaching collection, and we use it here at the National Museums of Kenya. One of the things that we have the tools here, which are the Dominican tools, and we have arranged them in a chronological manner, starting from the oldest and then the most recent. And also we have the different hominids that are associated with them. So these are the various of the different hominids that we also link with this technological advancement, starting from the earliest and then to the more recent, which is Homo sapiens, which is you and me. And here we have the different tools that are displayed. We have the older one tools here, and these are among the earliest tools for a very long, 2.5 million years ago. And we know that these tools were modified by human beings because in the manner in which the tools were fractured, the stone tools were fractured, because based on that we can able to see the different kind of fracture patterns. And to this one we can understand that the materials were actually modified by human beings or by hominids as opposed to natural processes. And we know that our technological journey as human beings started long time ago, 33.3 million years, when our ancestors nabbed a few stones to be able to accomplish a task. That act on its own set us on a technological journey that started that day to the modern sophisticated technology that we have today, your smartphone, your computers. All those technology, this is the foundation of them. By taking a small, however small the example of the tools is, you use it to accomplish a task. By so doing, you are now getting into a technological journey or technological trajectory. So that is how our journey began, and that's starting from the earliest tools. We have the older one tools, very sophisticated, and then here we have the older one. And older one is actually one of the technological tools that persisted for a very long time, and this actually lasted from 1.6 to about 400,000 years ago, and it spread across the entire world. And this kind of tools is associated with Homo erectus, who is actually represented here. And we know that it's because of eating good by having this kind of tools, which is seen as multi-purpose tool. You know, like the equivalent of a Swiss Army knife, that you can be able to accomplish different tasks. You can use it to chop tomatoes, chop meat, cut, break bones, and different kind of tasks that you can use to accomplish these tools. And it started also from being big and rudimentary, like for example, you can see this, how big it is, and different, and it also get, as time goes by, it got more refined and refined to more sophisticated ones, like this one, very complex, very simple. You and I, with our advanced cognitive or mental abilities, we cannot be able to reproduce this kind of tool. But here we are, we produce this. And specifically, these tools are very common in Kariandusi, Ologasaile, among other localities in Kenya. And they are found across the country. And they're very important because it's based on this that we can be able to understand the different kind of environment that were used. So they cut across the different environments, lowlands, highlands, you'll find the Acheulean tools. Why? Because Homo erectus was able to control fire was able to, there's a difference between using fire and controlling fire. If you can control fire, it means you can take it with you somewhere and then use it to accomplish a task. How we know the age of these materials is we can date the sediments of the soil, exactly the way we find these stone tools. When we find the stone tools, we date the materials, the soil, and while we date the soil, there are different techniques. One of the techniques is argon dating. We can be able to know the specific dates of this, the rate at which argon 40 changes to red argon at 9, and that argon is found in the volcanic tuff in which the materials are found. Another dating technique is carbon dating, which is the rate at which carbon is reduced in its half-life equation, and that is how we can be able to understand the different kind of dates. So there's a variety of dating techniques that we use to understand the date of these materials. So for example, this bone, we can be able to date it directly, but only if we have enough collagen in it. And collagen is a substance, a chemical substance that is found in all bones. You and I have it in all our bones. It's based on the materials that we eat. And when we drill it, we can be able to understand. Here, as the technology advances, we are going to the Middle Stone Age. And the Middle Stone Age is actually very important in the sense that the technology is more advanced, and also humans in the evolution are more advanced brain, that they already have a cognitive ability. They know what they want to do. So for example, they want a stone, they know how the product they are making looks like. So that is the one they use. They're also producing projectile points. So projectile means that an artifact that can be put into something, can be hafted. By hafting means can be incorporated into a stick and can be used to kill an animal, even from a distance. That's what projectile means. Here we have the Paleolithic, this is the inception of livestock keeping. But so people are now keeping their livestock. They can use it for to accomplish different tasks, and then they use it for grinding tools. They are keeping animals and also performing the different tasks. So this time frame is what we call the inception of livestock domestication, and it is a very unique cultural period in East Africa because it happens at 4,000 years. And here in Kenya, we have the earliest evidence of livestock domestication in Eastern Africa. So here, during the Iron Age, they're producing iron, they're able to clear the different kind of landscapes and they're able to use it for different things. And what is important about the Iron Age is also being linked to the Bantu migration. And the different kind of Iron Age, they're producing also pottery that we get into here. And this pottery is unique in that there's different kind of decorative motifs, these different kind of decoration techniques you see are different. And each are either related to one community or related to one cultural group. And you can be able to understand all the dynamics of how different exchanges are happening. And also, based on the decoration of the pottery, we can tell what kind of people are using it. So from this Iron Age pottery, this pottery is associated with the Iron Age, we have been able to map the Bantu migration. We can say, oh, Bantu, this is how they are moving. So that's how you can see even how they come, how the peopling of Kenya now gets into place, how the peopling of Kenya are now living across the landscape based on the pottery that we get into space. And all this actually is now linked with also with the later Stone Age. There's more refined tools. We call these microliths, which is micro as in small tools, but they are more refined. And there's also preference to what we call fine crystalline tools that are very sharp. For example, this obsidian stone tool is very sharp and it can cut actually just like a razor blade. So these are tools that can go to accomplish tasks. They can be hafted like this one, for example, to make projectile point that they can be used to kill an animal even from a distance. We also study bones and the different kind of stone. Apart from stone tools, we also study bones. So in order to understand diet, and from bones like this, we can go to reconstruct the diet, what kind of animals were being consumed, were they hunting, were they gathering, were they keeping their own livestock, animals that they can able to use. All these actually are animals that we can use. So all these are material remains that are left in an archaeological sites. And Kenya in general is very rich in archaeological materials. It has a very unique and a long history, as you can see, from 3.3 million years ago way up to the present. We have a very long history and complete history of ancestors living, like interacting with the landscape in Kenya. So we are a very rich country, very diverse, and we have a lot of raw material, stone tools that we can all be very proud of. Yeah, archaeology finds sites. There are different indicators that are able to understand how we find sites. For example, they can be based on deposits, where we know that these are the likely locations where these tools have been found. We also know that there are different areas where the tools could be located. For example, like the others that have been found, and also could be just by mere chance. But now they have different techniques that have advanced. They have remote sensing. They can be able to understand where there are possible locations for sites, and among others. So there are different techniques that archaeologists use to identify possible sites. When the materials are found, for example, these bones, sometimes, like you see, it's now complete and looks like you can tell what kind of sound. This is not the ideal situation where we find it when we find it in the archaeological excavation. Sometimes they are just small pieces that are found. So we have these, we bring them here in the lab. We study them. We can able to do comparative analysis with different kind of, we have what we call reference materials. Reference materials are like bones that are known for which animal. And we can be able to compare, piece it together to make the complete story. So from there we can be able to understand what kind of story. So here, that's what happens in this lab, is to what we call a preservation and conservation. The reason why archaeology, this kind of discipline is important, because it shows or it reminds us of our shared origin. We share that origin, and therefore, and in essence, of our shared destiny. There is a lot of careers in paleosciences that people can be able to study and understand the different heritage, the different resources, and this is an area actually that Kenya can take advantage and become leaders in not only conservation, not only prehistoric resources, but also geosciences and a different kind of science relating to conservation and promotion of our heritage. And also, studying our heritage, it injects pride in us as a people, things that we can be proud of because of foundation, and therefore a sense of well-being as a unity, creating a form of unity because of our shared origins, and therefore bringing a cohesion within the country. So that's why these are all important, because we can be able to understand. If you understand that you and I, we share a common origin, we have a shared destiny, and therefore we need to come together and preserve that which we are. Archaeology is it's taught in Kenyan universities or studied even in high school, but mainly you have to study history, biology, and of course a lot of geosciences. By geoscience I mean geology, geography, to be able to understand the different environments, the different deposition environments, the different kind of rocks, the different kind of bones. You have to know zoology, the different kind of teeth. All those are kind of biology, history, a little bit of physics, and of course, as I mentioned before, chemistry becomes very handy because you can understand the different kind of soils, the different kind of rocks. Why is this rock being preferred in this? You need to understand the kind of the chemical composition, or understand the physical properties of certain rocks. The most important thing about archaeology is the interdisciplinary nature of archaeology. It cuts across disciplines. You'll find that even if you are a student of archaeology in your lab, you're still working with people in chemistry lab, still working with people in physics lab, zoology lab, geology lab. Like even this was student here working with people in the Institute of Nuclear Science at the University of Nairobi. So you find that it's very cross-disciplinary. If you find an archaeological mission to the field, it encompasses different people. There are people who come in, geologists, who will study the deposition environment where you find these tools. What was the environment like when this was found? You have people who specialize in studying bones, where people will come study just vegetation. They want to know what was the vegetation like at that kind of time. So there are people who want to do the dates. They also don't be looking for specific kind of soil samples. So it's very interdisciplinary in nature. And we encourage to welcome you to National Museums of Kenya to come and see all the collections that we have. It's very impressive. It represents the very rich heritage that this country has, and it also provides a very exciting career paths that people can take, either not only in archaeology, and also other STEM sciences that they can be able to understand, study bones, study stones, study different kind of rocks, study human paleopathology, study stone tools, study bones. The opportunities are limitless, and it's all here at the National Museums of Kenya.